Hello, Year 13, and welcome to your Population Environment Cat number 4 support video. Yeah, so you just have 2 questions today, and both of them are 9 markers. So if you can just have a look on the screen, you can see you've got 2 9-mark questions. I thought it was possibly worth just pointing out the following for you. Okay, so 9 markers are something that's new for you. We only have them in the population and the environment unit, so you haven't come across them that much before up until now, but you will get 9 markers. I think it's 2 you get in the unit for population and the environment. So it's worth pointing out the following to you. The first thing is that all 9 markers are split in the same way. So you have 4 marks available here on your AO1. All right, now your AO1 is of course what you know. So it's, do you know what the concepts and processes are? Do you know case study or example detail? Okay, so this is when you need to know exactly what it is, and you need to make sure you have your case studies and you have your examples ready to put into your answer in order to pick up those 4 AO1 marks. AO2 then is what you do with what you know. Okay, so in this situation, it's about applying your knowledge to an unfamiliar situation, for example, evaluating, so saying which one is better, which one is worse and why, or analysing. So can you possibly, for example, put things into different categories for AO2? So can you make it social, environmental or human? So or economic rather. So you might want to say, you know, I don't know, if you're looking at deforestation, you might often say, very often you've got short-term economic gains but long-term environmental problems, and so that's a way of analysing a situation because you're categorising. You might want to look at, is it different for LICs and HICs? Is it different for different groups of people, for example? So maybe people living in rural areas will find one thing, whereas people living in urban areas will have a different experience. So all of that is examples of how you can analyse or apply your AO2 marks. And AO2 marks are important here because they're worth 5. Okay, so applying that information to an unfamiliar environment is going to give you the 5 marks out of the 9 marker. All right, now in reality, they're really not dissimilar to the 6 markers that you've had, but you just have a bit more scope to show off your knowledge, essentially. Okay, right, let me just pop this back to your actual cat so you can see what we've got. Okay, what we've got here is 2 examples of the 2 types of 9 markers that you're likely to get. One is here, just assess the extent to which population change in one country you have studied fits the demographic transition model. So they'll just ask you straight off for an answer. And the second one here is using figure 8 and your own knowledge. So that they call this using a stimuli, and they want you to use this as a springboard to sort of jump into, to read what they've got there, to show your knowledge about that, and then to bring in additional knowledge that you have. All right, so this is a different way of doing the 9 markers here. But remember, both of them, 4 marks for AO1, so 4 marks for what you know, and 5 marks for being able to analyse or evaluate or apply your knowledge to an unfamiliar situation. Okay, now we've got that cleared up. Let's just have a look at them in a little bit more detail. Okay, so the first question is an assess the extent to which question. So they're going to be asking you to sort of say how much you think that something has or hasn't happened. All right, so has it, you know, completely happened exactly as you thought it was going to? Has it happened more or less, but there's some differences and they'll be because of this? Or has it not happened like that at all? So they want you to take one country, okay, and to have a look at the demographic transition model and to say whether the experience of that one country is the same thing as the demographic transition model would suggest that it would be. Okay, so you need to assess that extent. Is it absolutely the same, partially the same, or not at all the same? All right, you're going to need to pick up your 4 AO1 marks here. So you're going to need to be clear you know about what the demographic transition model is, and possibly what some of the positives and what some of the negatives are for that, and some of the drawbacks and advantages of using it as a model. Okay, so that's where you'll be picking up your AO1 marks here, along with case study knowledge. So being kind of clear with examples backing up what you're saying. And then you're going to need to look at your AO2 model. So you're going to have to say how far you agree that this country has or hasn't followed that pattern, essentially. All right, and with again, sort of with examples and really illustrating and evaluating the extent to which that country you have chosen is following that model. All right, looking at the second one then, this is your second type of 9 marker. It's one where you need to use the figure. So they're going to ask you to use this figure here and also your own knowledge. All right, so this is not like a 6 marker where you are only allowed to use the figure. They want you to use your own knowledge as well. All right, and this is really important. So you must use the figure. So make sure you're looking through there, quote from the figure if you need to really kind of go, look, I'm using this figure. So you must use the figure, but you must also use your own knowledge. All right, so use it as a kind of springboard to give you some ideas and then continue that. Again, you're being asked to evaluate. Okay, so which one is better and which one is worse, which is the best and which is not so good, and why is it like that? So you have to evaluate strategies used to ensure food security. Okay, so they're obviously talking about Ghana here, and they've given you some ideas about some strategies that they're using, and maybe you want to have a look at that and say, well, this is good because, this is not so good because, but I would also expect you, because this is and your own knowledge, to have some strategies of your own. Other types of strategies that are used to ensure food security, and to possibly say, right, this would be better because, but at the same time, maybe say this was not so good because. Okay, so just remember here as well, you've got 4 marks for AO1, so 4 marks for what you know. Okay, and then 5 marks for AO2, so that evaluation, why is it better, why is it worse? And also being able to take what you know and apply it, and using this figure to kind of take what you know and sort of put it together to build your answer. Okay, so just those 2 9 markers this week. Good luck, and I hope you found this helpful.